Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures, and I'm inside the grain frame because I want to talk about watering. Yes, watering again, I know. Prime example in front of me here of very bad watering. This is my cauliflowers and well, as you can see, they've not exactly bolted, but they weren't watered enough at the start. And so what they're doing, they're producing little tiny cauliflower heads rather than a mass of cauliflowers. It's the first time I've actually grown cauliflowers. I've never done them. And of course, with all the rain we've had, I thought they were amply watered. Well, obviously they weren't. They didn't get enough water. And so they produced little cauliflower heads. And so actually, between you and me, they're absolutely useless. So come with me to the banking and I'll explain a little bit more about how we should be watering our plants. Hello and welcome to the banking. It's interesting about watering because you often think you've done enough, and when you get your hose pipe out or even your watering can and you just go like this, you know, oh that's nice, and you use the whole of that for maybe what, I don't know, 10 square meters. It's not enough, believe it or not. This green bit here represents roughly a square meter, and in the growing season you should water a gallon, so about 5 litres. This is a 6 litre can, so maybe all of that into this 1 metre square. It's incredible, it needs that amount of water, and you do that once a week. So really heavily soak the water once a week rather than getting a little hose pipe or your little watering can and just going, oh well, I think that's enough, because all that will do, as I said earlier, is well, penetrate the top of the surface. And what you really want is deep penetration into the soil, because then that will drag the roots down, and the further they go down, the more water actually the ground retains rather than just on the surface. So I'll move this out of the way, and as you can see here, I've got my leeks, and this is on the banking. It gets full sunshine virtually all the day. It starts about here in the morning and goes right round till about 2 or 3 o'clock when the trees cut it off in this section. Now the top of this surface is always dry. I mean, look at this, it's absolutely just dry. However, luckily, because I've been watering a lot on here, it's nice and brown and it feels nice and damp. So how can you keep this area or even all your plants watered? Now I'm very lucky, as I say, in my greenhouse, my growing frame, I've got an irrigation system. But what happens if you haven't? What can you do? Many different ways. Now as you can see here, I've got a little plant pot in the ground, and you can actually just directly water into that right to the top, and it will eventually soak through. And once you get the moisture underneath in the ground, it will start to slowly go in rather than quickly rush in preparation for your growing season. Dig and dig again. The further down you dig, the further you turn the soil over, which means the water can penetrate further down, so it's not a compacted growing area. Really important when you're doing vegetables. Or you've got things like this. Plastic bottles are very useful. I know we shouldn't be using plastic, but this is a little water bottle and it's got them sports tops. Now if you go like that, it just starts to drip, look, and it will just drip by itself, and you can place that into an open plant pot in the ground, and that will just slowly release its water. If you don't think that's enough water, pop that there. You can make your own with an even bigger oops, there you go. Now what I tend to do, I've got my plant pot in, as you see. I put a little hole in the top, there you go, and then I put a little hole in the lid. Oops, I'm wet through now. Now what happens is, depending on the size of the hole in the lid, is how much water drips out of this. I put this as a slow drip, so that'll just pop in there like that, and I can leave that, and that will drip into and next to any of the plants. Now last year I used that a lot because I didn't have my irrigation system, and it really worked. What that does, because it's sunk into the floor, that's where the water goes. It goes deep down into the roots. Now I water here regularly, and everything's coming up okay here. Well, I thought I'd end today's show inside, well, what's becoming the tomato house, I suppose. There's a few photographs of the earth below the tomatoes, and as you can see, they're nice and damp. They all get, each tomato now gets a gallon of water every week, And then of course they're topped up daily with my little irrigation system, because it really helps the fruits to form. Yes, the tomatoes, some of them now are starting to turn red and yellow, which is rather delightful. And I can't wait for this one behind me to get those deep purple tomatoes. They're so sweet and juicy. Well, keep watering and keep watering lots. I know I've gone about it, but it really will help your plants. Once again, thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you for your photographs, and we'll have more on the next show. If you really enjoy these shows, please press the subscribe button and tell all your friends. It's been wonderful having you here, and we'll see you next time here on Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. Ta-ra.